I can take that, Melissa, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That's a great question. I think obviously a business credit card would really increase, especially as you start using the business credit card, right? It really does increase the timing or the business credit at a faster rate. But I think if you want to sort of dissect it right from the get-go, right? Let's talk about when you are first establishing your business. So I think the first thing you'd really want to do once you register and you formulate your company, whether it's a sole proprietorship or an LLC or a corporation, you want to get also that employer identification number, because that's unique and specific to your business. And once you receive that, you can start establishing credit maybe through vendors or suppliers. So depending on which industry that you're in, if it applies to you, you can apply for net terms with these vendors and with these suppliers. So as you continue to buy, let's say like inventory, raw materials, supplies, those purchases and payments, they actually get reported also to the business exchange bureaus too. So the ones Melissa was mentioning, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, it gets reported to that. And in addition, you know, it's sort of like common sense in a way, but it's also important to continue to monitor and keep your credit reporting clean, right? So let's say you establish those vendor and supply net terms, you establish the credit card, you also want to make sure that you continue to monitor both your business and personal credit files and ensure that you make these payments on time or if not frequently or early. So hopefully that answers your question and gives you a little bit of more insight on building a business credit too. Any other questions in the chat, Alex?
Yeah, actually we have one more from Albert. So where can one monitor business credit score?
Great question. I would go to your financial institution. I know Bank of America just rolled out on the online banking platform a way to obtain your business credit score. You can also register via TransUnion. Any of the credit reporting agencies will obtain that for you. But I know a lot of the financial institutions are partnering with credit reporting agencies and making that available via online banking or whatever tools they provide. So that, I mean, great question. That's definitely something to look at.
I think similar to what Melissa mentioned earlier, you know, business credit obviously is pertaining to your business, but in many ways it's similar to your personal credit file, right? So if you were looking to monitor and see what your personal credit score is, right, you would go directly to these credit bureaus as well. So you would go to the Dun & Bradstreet website, you would go to the Experian, the Equifax, and create an account. And that way they can help really just give you an idea, an overall picture of your business credit at that current moment in time. Great question, indeed.
Any others, Alex?
Well, I got one myself. So I was wondering, you mentioned Dun & Bradstreet, right? For business credit. I was wondering, can a business actually access their Dun & Bradstreet report? Is there a way to do that free, or would they need to pay for it?
I think it is a paid service, to be honest.
That's a great question, Alex. For the most part, I believe, right, Melissa, I believe that you may have to pay for it. But I personally don't know the exact answer to that. I would just guide you or route you to that Dun & Bradstreet website and try to see if there is any kind of complimentary, you know, one-time credit checks or something of that nature. I see what you did there, Alex.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose.
No, I think, you know, going back to, you know, building business credit, I think it's a process, right? It's not going to happen overnight. You know, you have to continue to build on it, right? You have to use your credit in order for you to actually build it. So the better your business credit is, eventually, I mean, the more financial financially, the more financial opportunities that you will see later on. So that question that Melissa was answering, why is it important to have good business credit, is because it prepares you for that credit journey. We can talk about the business life cycle stage. So Alex and Yosefa was talking to us about, where the majority of this audience is at, right? So I think you may be in the startup or in the growth stage, but there also is a sustainment stage and a transitioning out stage. So it's important to know where you are in the life cycle, because depending on where you are, that will actually lead you to which credit product would be working best for you, depending also on what your need is. So a lot of startups, Melissa hit the nail on the head. A lot of startups, the best way for you to build that credit for the first couple of years of your business is to, get that business credit card, start using it, making sure your payments aren't paid on time. That way, come down the road when you're ready to purchase a building, or you're ready to purchase, a piece of equipment, purchase a box truck, you'll have that credit established right from the get-go. So hopefully that makes sense and gives you a little bit of insight.
Yeah, and just to chime in, the credit card piece is not intended to be used like for long term. And I know, and Justin will get into the lines of credit. I know that's top of mind when businesses go into, when they're open and operating, and it's something that a lot of businesses will look into, is opening lines of credit. So credit card is definitely not used for that. It's more of a short-term liability versus making it the long-term. Lines of credit are used for, those long-term effects. So don't go crazy with the credit cards. Make sure that you make the payments on time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, right? I think credit, whether it's personal, it's business, it's all about strategy and making sure you're on top of it. So whatever borrowing that you get, you make sure that your payments are always on time. You don't overutilize. And if you have to overutilize, or if the time does come where you have to make those payments, as soon as you receive your payments from your clients or your customers, make sure you pay it down or pay it off, right? So just some helpful tips when it comes to the credit journey per se.
We got another question in the chat here, and this is a good one. Are business credit card rates similar to personal credit card rates?
Yes, great question. It ultimately, just like personal credit, it ultimately determines, what your credit scores are looking like, the credit utilization you already have in place, the debt to income, that kind of thing, all ties into what the rate is approved at. We can't quote those rates, but all financial institutions across the board, they're super competitive with each other. So look for those promotions. I know we have phenomenal promotions. I'm sure other banks do as well. So when you're signing up for a new card, just ask, what kind of offers do you guys have for a credit card? Is there a promotional rate? Like, if I have it for a few months, is it like at a 0% interest? And what do you guys offer? So those are definitely great questions to have with your financial institutions, your advisors, and they'll go over that with you.
And then also, you guys, just so you know, and obviously it depends on what financial situation that you're in, but interest is only applied if there's a balance at the end of the cycle, right? So Melissa made a good point talking about credit card being a short-term solution for you. So how I paint the picture is really, if you're looking to, buy things, right, for your business expenses, if you're looking to purchase things through the credit card, you have basically a 30-day repayment period in order for you to get paid and to pay it off by that 30 days, right? So if you spend, for example, $1,000 on business expenses or, office supplies, by the end of the 30-day, if you pay off that $1,000, right, you get paid from your customers, there is a zero balance. Therefore, there won't be any kind of interest applied to that credit card, right? So obviously it depends on whatever your financial situation is, but keep in mind, interest is only applied to the balance. And if it's paid off or it's at a low balance, there's no interest, or interest is very low.
We are getting some good questions in the chat here, I'd have to admit. So we do have another one. So this is regarding nonprofits. So how does this work for nonprofit businesses? Question is, will the personal credit of the executive director, CEO, or board chair be used to determine creditworthiness for startup or smaller nonprofits or social enterprises?
Great question. I myself do have quite a few nonprofit clients, and every financial institution has maybe their own policy or process behind it. In terms of doing a credit card for a nonprofit or starting out, nonprofits are a little bit trickier because what they look at is they need a letter, corporate letterhead signed by all of the board members or whoever is leading the nonprofit, consenting to opening credit, because we can't report on the personal, obviously, when it comes to a nonprofit. So we ask for financials or any kind of documentation that they have. So every financial institution is a little bit different, but they will ask for some sort of documentation to get an approval on a credit card for a nonprofit.
Great answer. Great question, by the way, about the nonprofits. Alex, I know there may be a lot of questions in the chat, but for the sake of time, do you mind if we just continue talking high-level overview about the solutions and options suite, as well as the process for applying for a business loan? And then maybe at the end, we can filter out the questions, or people can ask questions to end out the meeting. Cool. Now, the next thing we'd like to talk to you about is really just the wide range of lending options you may have for your company. And I think it was a great first topic, talking about business credit and whatnot. But I think, knowing what different products there are and the wide range of lending options there are, I think it is equally as important, right? That way, you're a little bit more educated and you have an idea of what to go for depending on what your business needs are. So if you can see on the screen, credit cards, right? Melissa explained the first thing to help build your business credit is through a credit card. Easily allows you to track your business expenses, gives you access to cash, grace period on finance charges. For many of them, they give you rewards programs, both cash and travel, depending on what your preferred institution will be. And, doing research on the cards is equally as important, because there may be some incentive sign-up bonuses. There may be some introductory 0% annual percentage rate for net purchases for a certain amount of months. But doing research on the credit cards, depending on whichever institution, would help you in terms of the lending product. Lines of credits. The reason why, we bring this up is because, a lot of clients that we speak with, and they have a business lending need, it automatically pertains to a line of credit. And line of credit, there's just way more than that, depending on what you're trying to do. So a line of credit, the benefits for that, it gives you the flexibility to manage any kind of seasonal fluctuations, gives you some working capital, helps you finance your accounts receivables, your inventory. You have lower short-term rates than credit cards. It gives you access to cash. So with credit cards, just so you know, you actually get the most bang for your buck when you're using point-of-sale purchases using your credit card, whereas a line of credit, you actually have access to cash. So you can technically transfer money from that line of credit over to your checking account, and you can use it as you please. Term loans, this is a long-term loan where you have fixed rate interest rate options. You have a predictable payment schedule with fixed number of payments, and the rates are fixed, or the payment amount doesn't change when the rates are fixed. So this is if you're looking to purchase a piece of equipment, if you're looking to do some office improvements, business expansion, you basically receive like a lump sum into your deposit account, and then you make the fixed payments for however long you decide to have the term loan. There's different kind of equipment leases, so you can conserve your capital, you can preserve your credit. Now, here's an important thing, right? So tax advantages may be available. It's important, disclosure, Melissa and I are not accountants, nor are we CPAs or certified public accountants, not bookkeepers or tax preparers. So any kind of tax advantages that you're looking to do with any kind of lending product, always have or make sure you consult with your CPA or your accountant and see where that benefit or where that advantage would pertain to. So it's a lease, right? We have equipment leases, so you could either, at the end of the lease, you could purchase it, return the equipment, or you continue the lease on a monthly basis. Commercial real estate loans, I know this is down the way, but if you're looking to purchase a building for equity, if you're trying to eliminate any kind of high rent or lease payments, commercial real estate loans are really the way to go. It gives you access to equity. It provides a retirement or a stream of passive income, being that you own the building and you could always rent it out if you decide to forego the business. Auto loans, similar to a credit card and the credit products, auto loans you could actually finance through your company using the tax ID number. So if you do end up financing your car, your vehicle, obviously for business use, that business debt or that auto loan debt will report to the business credit agencies rather than showing up on your personal credit file. And so there is financing for new and used vehicles. You can refinance, you could purchase with competitive rates. And then SBA or Small Business Administration loans, they provide longer terms, lower down payments, fixed rates for up to 25 years. You guys are probably familiar with SBA because of the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, really just the last couple of years with the COVID pandemic. So just so you know, there is Small Business Administration loans other than those two that help with your growth, whether you're looking to purchase equipment, purchase a building, looking for working capital, or any kind of tenant improvements. Now, keep in mind, every institution has, their criteria or their eligibility requirements. So, the biggest thing that we stress is making sure you have that open line of communication with your bankers or with your bank. That way, and you can determine what eligibility criteria will need to be met when it comes to these lending options and solutions. So before the last part, does anyone have any questions? Alex, do we have any questions in the chat?
Not at the moment.
Hopefully that's not too much for you guys. not too much. High level overview. But lastly, you guys, Melissa and I will give you a little bit of a high level overview about how to apply for a business loan. I know this is Bank of America stuff, but you guys, this is very similar. There's a lot of similarities within the financial institution. So Melissa, do you want to go over the first part, determining business needs?
Yes. Are you going to show the slide or no?
Let me see here. Apology and share. Cool.
Awesome. Okay, so determining business needs, it kind of ties hand in hand with the life cycle that Justin was going over. So we have startup or expansion, we have improving cash flow, providing cushion against risk, making large purchases, overcoming seasonal lose. So pretty much it all ties into what your business at that point in time needs, whether it's the current needs or future needs. So talking with your business banker is very crucial, especially in all periods. I have clients that call me sometimes weekly, monthly or even quarterly, just to catch up and say, oh, my business is going through, we want to expand, we're hiring new employees, whatever the case may be. So determining those needs off the bat and having those conversations with your bankers.
Cool. And then we're going to switch it up, the 5 C's of credit. And this will give you all an insight on what the bank looks for when it comes to determining the risk or determining how we can lend to you. So capacity, it's your ability to repay the loan. Capital, the money you have personally invested in your business. Collateral, additional forms of security that you can provide to the lender. So an example of collateral would be if you're looking to buy a piece of equipment, right? If you're looking to buy, let's say, a printing press, that printing press would constitute as the collateral. Or if you're looking to buy a building, that building would be the collateral. Conditions, the intended purpose of the loan, and local economic climate. So that's, what do environmental factors, any kind of industry trends, things that are happening, right? COVID, how did that affect your certain industry? So these are the certain conditions. And then character, which is the belief that you are sufficiently trustworthy to meet your obligations. Basically, that's saying, what is your personal credit history? What's your experience? What's your knowledge? What about others that are tied to the business? Any kind of business partners, or does your employees, or do your employees or your staff have any kind of specialized skills for the company? So that's the character of credit. And then the last one that's not included here, again, it's C is for the communication piece. Always, we stress the importance of communication and the partnership. Always make sure that when you are ready, communicate with your respective bankers and see how, you guys can partner and ensure that the credit process is good.
Awesome. And then
Melissa,
you're established for your credit for your business. We have a 5-3-2-1 rule. So 5 active trade accounts, 3 business credit cards being utilized, and 2 loans paid in full. So this will ensure that you're on the road to success in terms of having really good business credit.
Awesome. And then last part, the business loan checklist. And this is just, a form of guidance, is that when you are, having any questions and you're looking to borrow in the near future or in the future, it's always wise to be prepared and be ready, have your personal information up to date, share your business plans, right? Knowing your goals and the history and what you're planning to do is important for you and for the banker. Tax returns, we say up to 3 years tax returns, both personal and business. Talk about financial statements, any kind of collateral, and legal formation documents. So that could be like letter of intent, purchase sales orders, things of that nature. But with that being said, thank you guys for allowing us to be on the call and talking to you very high level. But Alex, let's turn it to you. See if there's any questions in the chat, or if anyone wants to ask a question to us on the phone.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks again, Justin, Melissa. This was very informative. So I appreciate you sharing your time and educating all of us on this. And we did have a question, actually, another question. So what types of businesses does Bank of America not lend to?
So I'll take that and then can chime in. So we are federally regulated, of course. So and I know, I'll throw it out there, the marijuana industry, the vaping, those industries are restricted with any federally regulated banks. So we tend to steer clear of those type of industries. Manufacturing, everything else is green light.
Good to go. I'll chime in there, Melissa. I think, how about this? I think it's important to have that communication piece, right? To reach out to your bank and to see if we can do it. We never want to turn away people. Obviously, there are some factors, right? Things that we can and cannot help with. but it doesn't matter if we don't hear about it. So if you have a question or if you feel that a certain industry is not desirable, let us know or let your bankers know. That way they can give you the firm answer whether or not you should move forward, so to speak.
I like that approach, Justin. So I guess we could say, when in doubt, call your bank first. And
That's
Yes.
it.
Yes,
That's right.
the communication.
That's the 6C. That's the 6C of credit, right? Communication.
Thank you for that. That's
no problem.
all right. Did anybody else have any questions? I'm making sure I didn't miss anything through the chat. But yeah, if anybody else had any questions for both Melissa and Justin here, it's really great having a subject matter experts. We can tell that you've been working with businesses for some time, and believe me, we do get questions here at CIELO regarding, hey, how do banks look at this? You know, what do we need to qualify for a loan? You know, it's a complex world out there. You know, it's a big world out there. So again, thank you for shedding some light on this.
Absolutely. And Justin and I are, available to answer any questions. Even just to run something by us, we're open to just providing you any kind of feedback or answers to your questions.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
And I think, at the end of the day, Alex, Josefa, I think the CIELO community, I think what you guys are doing is amazing, right? And everyone that's on this call, we thank you for what you guys are doing, right? Whether you're just starting out or if your business is established, it's cliche to say, but small business owners, you guys are the backbone of the economy. And I think Melissa and I find a lot of joy, we find a lot of empowerment working with you all. So thank you for having us on the call. And yeah, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to hearing any kind of follow-up questions that you guys may have. We're here readily available.
Oh, definitely. And I will follow up with the two other questions that come in. So we'll go ahead and I'll pose these out to both of you as well too. Andrew asked, would requirements be lessened for microloans? So I guess for smaller loans. What would you say regarding that? I imagine a microloan, 10,000 or less, or maybe 5,000 less. I guess one, do you go that low, or do most big banks go that low? And if so, are there more requirements? How does that tend to work out, or are there less requirements?
Yeah, so we definitely start out loans from zero. We have different products that may be more suitable than others. So yeah, I mean, at any amount, large banks will definitely loan to, whether it be 5, 10, even up to, the max. We have different products, one which would be an unsecured, which would go up to 250,000, but I have clients that just borrow, up to 15, and they're fine with that. Mm-hmm. So yes, to answer your question, large banks will do lending for that amount. In terms of going through the process, again, all institutions might be a little bit different. I can only speak to what Justin and I do, and it does require financials to be provided and at least 2 years in business. So, and again, we do partner with, outside of the bank, smaller banks that do lending for startups, and we can, point you in the right direction for those as well. So, I mean, just having that communication, like we said, with whether it be your financial institution or just even asking the question, there are banks that will be able to help you.
Greatly put, Melissa. I think in addition to that, I think we definitely do microloans. We definitely help out. I think it's more so, what is the purpose of the loan, right? We have to make sure everything makes sense at the end of the day, right? We want to make sure the purpose of the loan, the type of the loan structure, what you're looking to purchase it with, or what plans that you have along with it. I think that's also important when it comes to determining whether or not we can do it in-house, at a bigger bank, or as Melissa mentioned, we route you, or we guide you to different partners of ours that do different forms of microloans as well.
Great,
Great
question. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, we have time for one more question. So this one here is from Yoli, and it's not credit related, but it has more to do with how your bank works with business owners. And this is actually a good question as well too, because I used to work at a bank, so I know where she's coming from. So how closely does your bank work with business owners, leaders to set up financial infrastructure? So specifically speaking, or as an example, QuickBooks, do you offer any training programs, or how does that integrate between, say, your online banking and QuickBooks? Is that pretty seamless?
Yes, great question. We do partner with QuickBooks. So our online banking platform does integrate pretty seamlessly. I think I've met, and I'm sure Justin can attest to that, a lot of clients that actually come over from different banks just for the mere fact of our online banking platform and all of the resources that we provide. So yes, it's very seamless. Our online banking platform does integrate with QuickBooks, and I think I have a couple clients that utilize other software that have been easily integrated as well. We don't really have a training per se. We do give the tools and resources available to integrate the two, and have contact information for, like, let's just say it's a training that you need via QuickBooks. We can provide a contact phone number and guide you in the right direction in terms of how to obtain that training.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that.
Right.
All right. Well, I know it's 4:55, so I wanted to leave some time to wrap up. Again, Justin and Melissa, thank you for spending time with us here and answering these questions. A lot of good ones, as you can see. A lot of people are interested, right? What I'd like to ask you, I guess my final question is, for any follow-up questions that anyone may have, what is the best course for them? Should they go into a B of A branch? Are they able to give you an email, or what do you think is the best option?
Melissa knows what I'm going to say already. Definitely. First of all, Melissa and I, the nature of our role is that we are in field sales, so we are working remotely. So we work really all across Orange County, basically, right? It really is also a preference on how you would like to conduct your business. We have great financial center partners that are working in the bank. So a lot of clients that I speak with, that I reach out to, they may prefer working with someone face to face. So yeah, absolutely. Alex, Yusefa, Melissa and I can give you our contact information after this call. Even if it's just, like I said, a follow-up question, please give us a call, send an email. We'll be more than happy to help. And, if at the end of the day, you decide you want to work with someone directly at the bank, we also facilitate those appointments for you to make it a lot smoother, a lot quicker.
Yeah, our role is pretty much to help you navigate through the bank. So if it's not something that Justin or I can do, we'll definitely point you in the right direction and get you the information you need. As Justin said, we're working remotely, so a lot of the things that you may not want to, walk into a financial center or wait in the lines, Justin and I can do that virtually. So that is an option as well. And as Justin said, we're happy to provide contact information, a quick, email, or getting us on the phone. We are more than happy to help.
Awesome. I like it. Well, I appreciate you offering that. And I think points of contact, especially when you're an entrepreneur and maybe just need someone to talk to, I think it's great that you provide that. So again, thank you for that. All right. Well, I know we're coming up at 5 o'clock. So again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Melissa and Justin, for being here. I think this was great information. I hope you all got a lot out of this. And thank you all for attending. Hope you all have a great night, and we will all be in contact. We'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.